What is good, creatives? It's me again, Tunji from Caesar Graphics. I want to specially welcome you to our weekly design review. So I have designs I'm going to be critiquing today already. But before we get to the critiquing of the design, I want to quickly share this with you guys that there is no one right way to achieve good design project. All right. But what you need to learn to do as designer is two things. Number one is to play. All right. Now the play part is moving the elements around on the project and make them balance. And then the other thing you need to learn how to do well is the entertaining of your audience. Now, the entertaining of the audience is what draws people's attention to your project. So when you are good at entertaining people, trust me, you are going to carry the trophy of a good designer. All right, so let's go straight to the designs, and I'm going to share what is working on the design and what is not working on the design that I received from the creatives members. This is the first design I'm going to critique today, and I love the layout of this project. Now, I'm sure so many of you also like the look of this project, and I'm going to share why this design is successful to you. You know, I said something in the beginning of this video that you need to learn the habit of playing and entertaining your audience. So here, how this designer was able to play here is the changing the look of the text here by distorting it, like skewing it. All right, and that's the play that this designer did here, and then how he was able to entertain his audience with the layout of this project is by making it look like the text is inside the water. See, guys, whenever you're asked to work on design projects, see how you can use the background of your projects to shape the look of your layout. In fact, your background is what shape the look of your layout. When you're good at doing this well, trust me, achieving good design is going to be very easy for you. So I like the way we have this text skewed, and also the way we have the other information here skewed. This is what made this project successful. I don't have any issue with this. This is a very beautiful, simple project. All right, and I'm going to say to this designer to keep it up. All right, keep it up. This is a very good project. Okay. But the only thing I'm going to advise you to work on next time is please try work more on using sharp illustrations. All right. I'm talking of using sharp images on your project. Sharp images most time is what is one of the ways that we creatives always make our project look professional. All right. So dull images most time dull project. So avoid dull images on your project. But again, I'm going to say here that this project is successful. And another thing that made this project successful is the use of the color on the text. All right. Aside from the fact that he played with the title, the color used and also the bubble effect clipped inside the title is another thing that made this project look successful. It would have been worse if the color of the text is something around red. It's not going to work. But because we have the blue text, we have the blue color on the text, it creates this connection with the background that made the project look successful. In fact, good job here. All right, so let's go straight to our next design. All right, so on this second design here, all right, the problem I have with this is the layout. All right, is the layout. Whenever you are asked to place items like this, like place items, always make them be in a in a well arranged format. All right, I know this here is different from this, and this is different from this, and this is different from this, and there are other ways you can arrange this, all right, that it will help, because the way you did it here is not really okay. If I draw a line here, now you see that my line is overlapping on this. This is another one here, and this is another one, and this is not really okay at all. What I would have advised you do is to make them be on their separate rows. All right, make them be on their separate rows. And I know one of the reasons why you decided not to make them be on their separate rows is because the words, the items are longer than each other. All right, they are longer than each other, and I know that's the reason why I decided not to do it that way. But there's a way you can make it be on their separate rows that it will even show that they are longer than each other. One of it is, if I have, for example, I have consultancy for cinematography on their separate lines, I'm going to put something like 1, 2, 3, and the items are going to flush to this side. So then I'll now put separated lines helping the flow of reading on that project. But the way you did it here is not, is not really okay. All right. Then the other thing you did not do well here is the use of fonts that are not really okay for the background. All right, fonts that are not really okay for the background. Yeah, I know this, but there's this, noise effect on this background. Fonts with space like this is not going to work on this type of background. Font background that you can use this type of fonts are background that carry more of dark values. But this background here has noise, and then the background is bright, so it's going to affect the visibility of this text here. All right, now the use of typography most time in graphic design is, there's a strategic way of using type in design. Before you use them, take your time to understand the background of your project, understand the layout. Okay, put yourself in the shoe of the viewers before you make use of any fonts on your design project. All right, so because we have this noise effect here and the value of this background is bright, is not helping the visibility of this. And then the other thing I think you did not do well here again is the use of elements that is not necessary at all. Because I'm wondering why we have this tree in this light bulb. All right, I don't understand the meaning of this. All right, please guys, avoid the use of elements that is not uh, um, helping. All right, that is not passing any message on your project. Because when you use any element that is not passing any message on your project, you are going to change the message. And changing the message, if the illustration does not connect with what the information on the design is saying, it's going to create confusion. So I'm going to advise you to avoid that and your next project. All right, so let's go straight to the next design here. All right, now this is another beautiful design that I love so much. I like the simplicity here. One of the reasons why most designs always look successful is when there's enough space for the content to breathe. Then the other thing is the use of proximity the right way. All right, now when I say the use of proximity, I'm referring to grouping the elements, make them have their separate group. Like for example, here we have the group 1, which is the logo. Here we have the group 2, which is this, and then this here, all right, is another group. So each of the group have their own separate space, as in there's enough space to to separate the groups, and that's one of the reasons why designs always look successful. Another good thing that helped the success of this design is the fact that we have less color here. We have less color. Now I'm not saying you should not use more than one color on your design project, but watch your background, watch your the information on the design. It would have been worse if this designer used too much color on these projects. And why I say it would have been worse is because we have all this information here. All right, we have this this steering with too many details here. So having too much color on the project is going to affect the success of the project. And another thing that helped the success of this project is the fact that the designer made the background out of focus. So we know that the car is on the road, all right, and then we can still read every other information on the project. So whenever you're working on design project and you have to use a background on the project, check what you know that is not necessary on the project. See how you can fade that thing out, all right, and make the right information visible on the project. And that's what this designer did here that made this project, look successful. And I also like the controlling of the eye movement here, which is making us see this as the first thing that draws your attention, and then this comes second and this comes last. Beautiful. This is in fact, this is another good job. This another good design that I'm going to give huge kudos to the designer. All right. Okay, so let's go straight to our next design here. Okay, so yeah, on this design here, I've mentioned something on this platform to you guys before that. Please, one of the things that affects that door your layout is splitting your frame. All right, when I say splitting your frame, I'm referring to this. I know some of you who are used to this meeting can relate to what I'm about to share now. There's a way I taught you guys to always, make your layout balance with when you are asked to work on design projects and you want to avoid splitting your information like your frame like this. Now, there are times when you can do this, but you only do this when the information on the project call for it. Like, for example, you want to say, okay, this information here is different from this information here. But if that is not the point, or if that is not the message, there's a way you can you still use the same layout and connect this the information here. Let me just quickly show you what I'm trying to say. If you are trying to connect the information, I know some of you you already know what to do here, but for those of you that don't know what to do, this is what I'm going to do if I'm using the same layout. So first off, I'm going to crop this out. All right. Yeah. So you can do this, to create that, connection. All right. Now, then if you now do it this way, then you can now, play again with the layout. But I just want to use this to educate you guys on how to create that connection whenever you have your frames split like the way this designer did here. All right. And then the other thing I noticed this designer did not do well here is the not allowing space between each of the services here, because space, like what I always say to you guys, is how we help our viewers, all right, to rest whenever they are, navigating through the information on our design project. And I noticed the same thing happen here. All right. I noticed the same thing happen here. In fact, if I happen to be the one to work on this project, I'll make this my illustration so big that the leg of this my character is going to get to this side of the project, and then the services can now move to this side with the venue and every other information on the project. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to stop here on this, but the color used on the project is beautiful. It's just the layouts that I think is not okay. All right, so on this last design here, this is totally off, and the reason why this is off is because first the information on the project is like there's no room for the content to breathe. Um, yeah, and then I noticed the use of elements that are not really necessary. All right. So yeah, so please, whenever you're asked to list your items like this, always allows always put a separated line in between them. All right. That's one of the ways you can help the flow of reading on your project. All right. So yeah, I think that's it for today's design.